when it comes to health, we basically want two things. We want to feel good and we want to look good. When something is wrong in the body, it'll put up a good fight, but eventually it'll let you know. My first guest is an OBGYN, and everything was great until her babies were born. We love them, but they can do a number on the body. Tired but couldn't sleep, depressed for no outward reason, and skin and hair changes prompted Dr. Shel to do more research beyond medical school. Today, she's a board-certified physician in functional medicine as well, helping people to live their best lives. When licensed therapist Dr. Drshelenalaljiaesthetics came through the doors of the Dr. Shel Wellness and Aesthetic Center, she was at her wit's end. She's so much better today, and she wants women in particular to know self-care is not selfish. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
All right, Dr. Shel, let me start with you. When I said everything was fine until you had those babies, there are various times in life when our hormones will take a swing, but nobody teaches us that. And almost every doctor I talk to, I say, what did you learn about hormones in medical school?
Absolutely not much at all.
Yeah, although it really can rule so much of the body.
It is the powerful thing that you need to learn about. So hormones, nutrition, and hopefully things are changing. But when I went to medical school, and that was a few years ago. What's really important to realize is hormones evolve over time, right? In men and women both. So, of course, when you're going through puberty, all great things are happening. But for women, it starts around your 30s and 40s when your progesterone takes a tank dive, but your estrogen stays up, your testosterone starts declining. So it's not just menopause, it's premenopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, and for men it's andropause, where everything shifts and changes.
Yeah, because I know when I first met you, I had recently had my son. I kept trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, I'm depressed, but I'm not a depressed person. I have no energy, and clearly I'm right. You have energy, the whole bit, all these things, and then I had gone to several doctors who said, well, let's give you some medicine for the depression. Let's give you this for this. And I was like, but you're medicating my symptoms.
Correct.
You're not medicating my problem.
Correct.
And you're like, if functional medicine. Why did things go wrong?
Right.
Now let's make them go right. For me, it was my thyroid.
Exactly. What is the root cause? So when you look at hormones, you've got to look at your thyroid, your progesterone, your estradiol, your testosterone, your DHEA, your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. And we live in a high stress culture, and so all of those are going to go awry, leading to sadness, depression, weight gain, hair loss, fatigue, insomnia, anxiety, all of the symptoms that people are now just trying to put a Band-Aid on and give you. And that's what I said to my doctor when I went through it, that I am not deficient in Prozac.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am not going to take it.
Yeah.
I am deficient in my hormonal balance. And so optimization is key. And I think that what's really important is it's key to do the right testing. When you go to get your thyroid tested, you don't want to just look at a TSH and a T4. You want to look at a TSH, a free T3, a free T4, a reverse T3, thyroid antibodies.
All the things that we would know, which why the big thing is we sit down with you and you go through listening to what we're telling you, because we're part of the investigative process, right? And then the labs will tell you the rest of the story.
Absolutely.
All right, Dr. Lewis, I met you before you went through your PhD program. You are about making people feel better, better mental health, all that stuff, but you were falling apart yourself. What was going on with you while you were going through that PhD program?
You mean the hot mess?
The hot mess. What was going on? You felt crazy, even though you were supposed to provide uncrazy for the rest of us.
There's that, right? So I was starting the program so many years ago, and I was having lots of headaches. I was having difficulty focusing. In a PhD program, if you can't read and you can't study, you're going to fail everything. And I was on the verge of all of that when I was introduced to Dr. Shel, and she literally has saved my life.
Yeah, because it wasn't the PhD program that was causing this, but it just was not a good time to be going through this,
Wrong
right?
guy.
Yeah. Breaking up a fog and the whole bit. Okay, so one of the things that you found was balancing those hormones.
Absolutely,
right?
Optimizing all of the hormones and getting her sort of balanced on everything, whether it's nutrition, giving her the IV therapies, giving her the right thyroid, and getting her on the right pellets. I think that was
let's talk
really,
about that, because when you say hormones, there's different ways to deliver hormones.
Absolutely.
There are I guess I could say synthetic hormones, but then there's bioidentical. And with bioidentical, the body thinks it is producing its own stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
So you want to take hormones that are biologically identical, which is bioidentical to what your bodies produce. And we can do that with all of the hormones. And that's what we do, is optimize everything with small pellets, which are the size of like a grain of rice. And it gives you steady state hormones, with BioT especially, gives you steady state hormones for 3 to 6 months, depending on your metabolism and what's going on. So we can place testosterone and estradiol for women and testosterone for men, and then take the progesterone orally. So this is just, you can see it on the screen, they are so tiny.
Yeah.
The small one is the estradiol, super easy to insert, not painful, and then your steady state for about 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, your body takes what it needs when it needs it,
Absolutely.
and then keeps you steady.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Lewis, how do you feel now?
Amazing, amazing. So I went from a hot mess to being a hot mama.
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, okay, there you are right there. But you were always cute, but your waist is snatched right now.
There's
you walked
that.
in, you sashayed into the set this morning. Well, look at that little waist of yours.
Yes.
All right, you lost about 20 pounds or more.
I did. When Dr. Shel told me that I was gluten resistant, right, and intolerant, and she said I couldn't have bread, I said she took my life. But when she took my life, she took all of that extra excess weight around the belly gut, around the hips, and all of those things. I got my brain back. I could think better. So much changed.
Yeah. And Dr. Shel, okay, so insulin resistance, that's another thing that happens for a lot of us at a certain age. And it can lead to diabetes. It's like basically opening the door to diabetes, right?
Absolutely.
And for me, I had gained 15 pounds in 1 month and did not know why, because my diet's not crazy. I was doing nothing real different. But so that's when you met me when I was dealing with thyroid.
Correct.
But then what came was I gained the 15 pounds and went, what is going on here?
Exactly.
Insulin resistance can happen to a lot of us around a certain age.
Absolutely.
And I remember another doctor telling me, I can make sure you don't go diabetic, but you're not going to lose the weight.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, no, what's the point? Right? No, but...
so it's an art.
Yeah,
right?
It is an art, because GLP-1s, we're hearing so much about them right
Yes.
now, whether you call them by brand name, like Ozempic or whatever. Those are all the rage right now. The problem is, for some people, it's not all the answer. So when you come to your office, you do the lab work first. First of all, we need to know, am I diabetic?
Correct.
Am I insulin resistant?
Well, you're absolutely right. And what is really bothersome, Deborah, is everybody's heard about it, everybody wants to be on it, and everybody should not be on it without medical supervision.
Yeah, getting it through the mail is
exactly.
not,
No, it's such a dangerous thing to do things over online. So here's what needs to happen. Number one, you need to know what is the root cause of your weight gain to begin with. Do you have the right lifestyle? Exercise and diet, there's no replacement for that. Having said that, if you are insulin resistant, is your doctor checking it? You must check your fasting insulin, your A1C, your inflammatory markers. We don't do anything without checking all of that.
And are you on the right dosage? I have friends who are on it going, this doesn't work for me.
Exactly.
I say, but you might not have the right dosage.
Exactly.
Or again, what are you battling here? Are you battling diabetes? Are you battling other things? They don't know.
They don't know. And so we need to know what caused it to begin with, and how are we going to repair it by giving the right doses to the right person at the right time. And so GLP-1 agonists are great if used wisely and with the right education. It's not for everybody, and everybody should not be on it. But we should, if you're the right person, and especially if you have insulin resistance, and especially if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, I think there's a space for it, because it's a peptide. And when you think about a peptide, it's really important, because everybody's hearing about peptides. Well, what are peptides?
One of many peptides, right? Okay, let's get into peptides, because now we're getting in medicine like more to the cellular level, where we can correct so many things.
There are so many
using natural things that happen in the body already.
Perfect, exactly. So peptides are short chain amino acids, which are the signaling molecules to be able to signal what our bodies are actually going to do to feel better, look better, and just be better. So great for muscle, lean muscle mass, and fat metabolism, but also great for energy, for sleep, for cognitive function, skin, collagen, everything, and healing. So there is a peptide called BPC 157, which a lot of athletes are taking because it's great for inflammation and to repair injury. There's another one called CJC 1295. We can mix that with ipamorelin, which stimulates the release of your growth hormone. You don't want to be injecting growth hormone into your body. You want to get your body to release more growth hormone. But if you do that, you want to make sure you're testing IGF-1, which needs to be tested to see if you need this to be able to increase
She's
it.
been to medical school. Right.
Clearly.
But here's the point, is that you're not just saying everybody peptides.
No.
It's what kind of peptide do you
Yes.
need for whatever issue you have, and we're not going to over-peptide
Yes.
you. It's all about balance. Just like with hormones,
Exactly.
got to do
There
things
are dozens of
in
them.
balance.
Yes.
All right. Once we lose the weight,
Yes.
especially so many people have lost substantial amount of weight,
Yes.
and they took care of one battle,
Yes.
but then the other battle comes, is like, where did the flabby skin come from? Where did the or even in like with if they have the Ozempic face, which they call that,
Yes.
where you almost look like you have wasting, right?
You call it the Ozempic face and the Ozempic butt. And so when you look at that, number one, you've got to be doing resistance training during that, and you've got to, if you look at the screen right now, that's a procedure called L-therapy. It's really one and done. You don't need 4 or 6 of those.
Wow.
But look at that you look at that neck, look at the chin lifting, because you're going to lose that if you dramatically reduce your weight.
Right.
And dramatically
Saggy.
reducing very quickly is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Then you have the abdomen, right? So you want to stimulate the abdominal muscles, and this is called M-Sculpt Neo, where what's happening is you're stimulating muscle and reducing fat, including visceral fat, which is the bad fat. So you can actually increase your muscle by 30% and reduce your fat by 25% within 4 treatments.
Make you 21 again.
Oh,
All right,
yes.
I'm going to get on to something else that to round out with, that a lot of women deal with but don't want to talk about.
Yes.
And the area is called vaginal rejuvenation, but for we might not have pictures on this one, by the way. But anyway,
No
urinary
pictures.
incontinence and sexual health is important.
Yes.
You have things that can deal with the laxity. Like a lot of women will say, okay, I had 4 kids naturally.
Yes.
When I laugh or sneeze, you
Yes.
know, I accidentally, go
Yes,
my
over 6 million women are going through this, and they are suffering in silence because it's embarrassing to talk about. So there is a treatment called Emsella, where you seriously are just sitting on a beautiful chair and you're stimulating the pelvic floor muscles, which has been FDA approved for urinary incontinence of all types, also for erectile dysfunction. So it's great for men and women both to stimulate your core muscles as well as pelvic floor muscles.
Yeah, all right. Let me end with Dr. Lewis. Self-care is not selfish.
Self-care is the new sexy.
There you go.
Yes, it
One
is.
step further.
All right, we'll end on that. Ladies, thank you very much. Dr. Shel has these special offers for Great Day viewers. Starting with the first 25 callers will receive 30% off any aesthetic face or body package. Second, you can get 20% off IV and wellness treatments. And right now, weight loss programs start at just $3.99. To take advantage of these incredible savings and start living your best life, schedule an appointment and learn more about all of Dr. Shel's services online at drshel.com, drshel.com, and Shel is spelled with 1 L. You can also give Dr. Shel a call at this number. It is 281-313-7435. Again, 281-313-7435. Dr. Shel is also having an open house this Thursday, April 3rd from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., where you can get a free demonstration of M-Sculpt and Emsella. You can RSVP at manager@drshel.com.